Hey, everybody, this is Liz coming live to you from Command Center in Blaine, Washington. And I have someone special that I want you to meet today. And I'm going to let her introduce herself and where she lives and where she works. And then we will go from there.
All right. My name is Stephanie Magdiel. I currently live in Bellingham, Washington, and I work, of course, at Augusta in Command Center in Blaine, Washington. I work with answering phones, of course, and then doing franchise invoicing and onboarding.
And how long have you been with Augusta?
Little over a year. I started in February of 2024.
And how has that transitioned over the time with the training and the team and the culture?
It's been great. I love it. Even from day one, the culture was very welcoming and pretty. I mean, easygoing. It makes you feel like you're welcome here. It's always been that way. So it's just gotten better as I get to know everybody.
And what about our not just our training, but
Mhm.
over time, the processes and systems, do they change quickly at Augusta?
Um, they can, yes. I mean, things are always going to change, right? The only thing that stays the same is change. That things are going to change, but there's always been a way that when things are changing and systems are updating, or we introduce something new, that the training is done and very thorough. Whether it's in-person training or video training, it's always very thorough and very quickly. It gets done quick. So.
And how has your role transitioned over the year that you've been here?
Well, I started out just answering phones and then jumped into helping with P4P, and then got trained on helping with invoicing. I'm doing yellow slips too. I totally forgot about yellow slips. Do yellow slips. Um, and started training on the franchise invoicing. And from there, the process for that has changed quite a bit as we work through and find little kinks in the old process and try to make improvements to adjust that. So things have changed, but always for the better, and hopefully smoother and faster, more efficient.
Tell us a little bit how the process goes for invoicing franchisees because they have a monthly fee in a
Mhm.
franchise, which
Yes,
ours is not dependent on the franchisee's income. It's a set flat amount. And
correct.
then we have what's called the command center fees, which
Mhm.
are service to the franchisees. We charge per minute on the phone and then per minute for other tasks we do for them in other departments. So what
Correct.
is it like for franchisee invoicing?
Well, the first of the month when they get their command center bill, that's probably the busiest time because I have to pull a lot of reports and go through to find out which ones we actually spent time on and make sure they're all valid, get them all put together, calculated into totals between the different types of services and the different locations that the service was applied to, get that put into a report where we do calculations to say, okay, here is for, say, Littleton, this is the amount of minutes we had for each section, Evansville, all of the different locations and the total minutes. So that one actually takes several hours. Once we get it put together, there are three of us on the team. And with the franchise invoicing for the first of the month, it can pretty much take all three of us all day long to get that done. So that one's pretty labor intensive. As far as the franchise fee, the monthly franchise fee, we have that on level billing. So that one's pretty easy. We just go in every week, every month, and make sure that the number of invoices that we have are the number of invoices we expect to have. And then we do the process the charging on those. Those get charged right away. Process the charging on those, and then send out the receipts.
Does Command Center use a certain software that is specific to all franchises, or have they been using something that our customers use?
We use what the customers use. It's all done through Copilot. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, it's all done through Copilot. Monthly franchise fees again are set on level billing, so that's easy. The command center bills we do manually by creating a new invoice each month.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So How does one come to these positions? So, my gift is really watching people
Mhm.
and putting them in positions to succeed. And the more I learned about you, the more I thought you would be really great for this role. What did
Thank you.
you do before you came to Augusta?
Well, my job just before Augusta, I worked at Lowe's. I was a cashier there. That job actually had been intended to just be a part-time second job. My original job before that, that was my main job. I worked at a company called Optum Bank. They're actually owned by United Healthcare. And there I was a business analyst where I did all of their systems testing, processing, helping the IT department to set up new scripts and everything to make sure that the updates that they made were correct. I worked 27 years for in the banking, and I can't say I worked 27 years at Optum because that was a new company. I worked there at Optum for 5 years, but they purchased the department I worked in at Wells Fargo. So I was at Wells Fargo for the majority of that time, doing a lot of the same, being manager in different departments for Wells Fargo. So I did a lot of things. I started out at Wells Fargo as their legal representative, where I took people to small claims court and was the liaison to outside legal counsel for people outside of the state. I worked up to, and then I became the manager of the pre-charge off group for the auto loan collections. So I picked up people's cars, and I got a lot of interesting phone calls for that one. And then I moved over to what's called their health benefits department, where it's for HSAs, FSAs, things of that nature. And that's where I stayed until that department was purchased by Optum.
Interesting. So, how do
Yeah.
you think that's helped you in your current job?
Well, did a lot of numbers, a lot of testing, knowing how systems work. I learned a lot about like spreadsheets and stuff. Like we use spreadsheets for the invoicing, a lot of pivot tables and trying to get the numbers to match up, a lot of detailed work and attention to detail. Um, we have found obviously several things that we have updated based on things that I have found while doing the invoicing. Hopefully, make it better and easier for everyone else. So, and
That's
I think that's helped
fantastic.
knowing those numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see how that's really helped. Now, you also do yellow slips.
Mm.
And for those who don't know, what is the yellow slip system?
So there has actually been a little bit of confusion on that. So yellow slips are our way of saying, hey, there was a mistake made. This is what was made, and here's what we can learn from it. There are two different types of yellow slips that the franchisee may have. One is for their own crew members. If the crew members made a mistake, you have a system that you can give them a yellow slip that could affect their P for P. And then there is a yellow slip that would be sent to me, which is if something happened within the command center, a between an agent and a client that you would submit to me, and then I would do review on it to see if, yeah, there was an issue, there was a problem, here's what happened. And if there was a monetary loss to the franchisee, then we would then, of course, apply a credit for their next command center billing. If there was not a monetary loss, then it's just me doing research and saying, here's what happened. Every time that there is an actual yellow slip where there's monetary loss or something that the agent may have done incorrectly, we always provide coaching to the agent and help walk them through, explain what happened, and here's what it is. So no matter what, there's always coaching that's given as from the mistake. We don't like to say it's not, they didn't do anything bad, right? It's just a way of learning, and saying, hey, heads up, this is what happened, please watch, be careful going forward. So there has been a little bit of confusion lately. I've had a couple of the newer franchisees send me yellow slips for their crew members. So just as a reminder to them, I would send back saying, hey, there's a different process for this. But yeah,
So
it's
there's a difference between the team and the field for the
yes,
franchisee as opposed to command center. So what you
yes,
deal with is command center, what mistakes we may make
right.
here. and then
Yes.
compensating the owner. And if the owner is wrong, do you educate the owner?
Yeah, I will message back saying, okay, here's what happened, and this is how we perform or what we do in the command center. This is why it looks this way to you, and if I have a suggestion for them going forward to help stop the same thing from happening another time, I will provide that. Just saying, hey, going forward, I would suggest this, or something of that nature, just to let them know that this is why it looks this way, and it's not really a mistake. This is just how it's done.
Got it. And for the guys in the field, a lot of times they just route those in and they go back to the customers and resolve it
Mhm.
themselves. Do you have your team do that, or does our command center just give a credit to the franchisee and move on and then try to coach our team?
So you mean for his crew, if their crew messes up? Is that what you're talking
Nope,
about? Oh,
nope,
okay,
at
okay.
command center.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, if it's something that we did that we messed up and it affected the client, um, and if the crew has to go back out, obviously that's something that the I would let the franchise know, hey, this is what needs to happen. Of course, most of the time they already know that, where they go back out to the client and take care of it. And then we provide coaching and the credit. If it's something that we need to call the client and say, hey, look, we're sorry, we apologize, we made a mistake, that's something that I request for the original agent that made the mistake. They need to do that. If they're not available, I will do it if it's a time sensitive thing that needs to be done. But I always have the agent that made the mistake go back in and correct it. It's a way for them to also learn that this is something that happened and how to go forward and not have it happen again.
Mhm. That's very good. So there is so much that makes you up of who you are, and I have a lot of admiration for how you come to work and the things that you've gone through. So could you
Thank you.
go back for us and tell us a little bit about the challenges in your relationship with your late husband?
Oh yeah. So my late husband was, first of all, he was what they call a type 1 brittle diabetic. So he had childhood diabetes, but he had had it for so long that he couldn't tell when his blood sugars were really high or really low. That's where the brittle came in. Or no, sorry, where the brittle came in because he would just jump up and down. Sorry, I missed something there. His blood sugars would go from, like, I don't know if any of you know anything about diabetes, but normal blood sugar levels around 120, and his blood sugars would go up to like 400 1 minute, and then 10 minutes later he's at 60. So I mean, it was just these extremes, and so he was a brittle diabetic, and he had had it for so long he got to where he had what was called hypoglycemic unawareness. So
Hmm.
he couldn't tell when his blood sugars were off. So I would be talking to him 1 minute, just sitting there talking, and the next minute he's on the floor passed out, almost in a diabetic coma. So um, he had a lot of issues with that, and then he became schizophrenic. So about 12 years into our relationship, he
Mm,
started having problems where he thought people were following him home, and then he got to where he didn't dare go outside to pick up the mail because people were watching him, and someone drove through the neighborhood and looked at him, and
mm,
they put a curse on him, just things like that. And
mhm,
he started getting scared of driving under overpasses because he was afraid they would start falling in. And then he started hearing voices. So it got pretty bad. He became completely disabled. I had to start working from home because I needed to be there to take care of him.
mm,
So I was his sole caregiver. Um, and yeah, I had a lot of fun situations from that where one of his main voices that he heard, he called her the teacher, and she was scary. The teacher scared him. I remember one day when I did work in the office, I got a call from him asking if I could hurry home because the teacher poked him in the eye. And I mean, I'm trying not to laugh because obviously I know the teacher didn't really poke him in the eye,
yes,
but he
yes.
was freaking out, right? He was freaking out. So I left and I came home. I got home and he was just closing his eye. He's like, see, I told you she poked me in the eye. And I'm like, okay, okay,
That's
well,
really not
right.
funny.
No, it is, but it's not, right? It's it's kind of funny. Um, because I'm trying not to laugh, right? So, but because it's serious to him, but he just had things like that. He was afraid of these invisible ninjas. He called them the Kashistis, and his main voice, Eddie. Eddie's the only one that could see the Kashistis, and so he would always tell Ken when they were around. Um, spent 45 minutes in the garage because the teacher was standing by the back door and we couldn't go in. So, just different things like that.
Mhm.
It was a challenge at the time. I can laugh at them now because, looking back on it, it's
Mm.
obvious that it wasn't
Mhm.
real, but it was real to him at the time. So it was a bit of a challenge, and we were together for a little over 22 years before he passed away.
Wow. So you
So
took
about
care of
10
them.
years of
Wow.
the schizophrenia. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
and you were
So
trying to work full time during that.
yes, absolutely.
And did you
Yeah.
have children?
Not together. I had 2 kids from my first marriage, and he had 2 kids from his first marriage. So, but we didn't have any kids together. By the time I got started dating him, I had already had like a hysterectomy, so no more kids for me.
Got it, got it.
Yeah,
So I know that you have had cancer. How
I have.
how did that come about and when?
Well, I moved from after my husband passed away. I stayed in Utah for several years, in the house, and of course, COVID hit, so it's just me in the house by myself. After a while, I said, "You know what? I'm tired of this. I'm done. I'm going to move on." And lo and behold, I decided to move to Whatcom County and in Bellingham.
Hmm.
I moved up here. I called a realtor and I said, "Hey, can you sell me a house over the phone?" He's like, "Sure." So we did that
Oh,
sight
wow.
unseen. Yeah. So I bought a house basically over the phone. I drove up to Bellingham on May 1st of 2021. Pulled up, saw my house, but the realtor got my keys, moved in. And that was May 1st of 2021.
Hmm.
And I had left a storage unit full of my belongings in Utah. So July 3rd of 2021, I flew back to Utah, got all my stuff. On the way home, I just started feeling really gross, really yucky. And I thought, well, maybe it's just because of all of this going back and forth
Mhm.
and, jet lag and everything. And on my way back, every time I stopped to get gas and I went to the bathroom, I was puking blood and just, all kinds of bad stuff.
Mhm.
And I thought, okay, it's just all of this all at
Something
once.
else is going
Right,
on.
just something, right? And just everything all at once. Okay, everything will calm down. But it didn't calm down. It continued, and maybe TMI, too much information. But like every time I went to the bathroom, there would be blood every time, and I would throw up all the time, almost
Hmm.
daily, and there was always blood. Well, I talked to my doctor about it. After I found a doctor, talked to him. We thought, let's just do a couple of scans and see what happens. Of
Mhm.
course, the scans here, all of the doctors are booked out. This was in July, end of July, and everything. I was booked out until December for
Hmm.
these scans. But then about November 1st, it got so bad. I was thrown up like 4, 5, 6 times a day. And it
Hmm.
got so bad that I was feeling really dizzy. So I drove myself to the emergency room. And the doctor there says, "Well, there seems to be something wrong. Let's do a quick scan." Came back in, he says, "Yeah, you got cancer." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, thanks. Um, thanks
Oh
for
my
breaking it to me
word.
gently." Um, so I started treatments, started with chemotherapy and had to have radiation every day for
Wow.
62 days. Yeah,
Wow.
it was rough. Radiation is rough. I had burns on the bottom of my feet, on the palms of my hands, in my mouth. I couldn't even eat ice
Mm.
cream or drink water. Everything burned. It just hurt. So, but went through that, and a year later, I am in remission. Well, I was in remission. It's now been almost 3 years, going on 3 years. So, still in remission that I know of. So, hopefully, knock on wood, that it still is in remission. Um, but yeah, so that was not fun. I had 2 different tumors. The biggest tumor was 15 centimeters, which
Hmm.
was roughly about the size of 1.5 grapefruits. So yeah,
Mhm.
it was fun.
Incredible. Incredible. And so they
So much
never
fun.
did any surgery, huh?
Nope, nope. They were able to shrink the tumors with the radiation and the chemo. Um, thankfully.
Mhm.
So hopefully it stays gone, but if it doesn't, hopefully they can get it again
Mhm.
with the treatments. Yeah.
True, that's good. And
Yeah.
then recently, I noticed that we were having a meeting, and then
Mhm.
you couldn't talk very well. And I
Yeah.
asked, "What in the world is wrong?" And so
Oh,
you explained it to me. Can you tell us about that?
yeah, I'm just falling apart. Um, I have what's called trigeminal neuralgia. So there's the main nerve that goes from the back of your neck up through the top of your ear and then splits out into three across your forehead, your nose, and your jaw. Somewhere along the line, my nerve is damaged. So every once in a while, it will have, I call them episodes. I don't know, it will start spasming. And when it does, it's like, when you put your tongue on a 9-volt battery,
Mhm.
it's like that, but times 1,000
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
your face. And the majority of it is concentrated, and it's happening right now, so I can't really touch my face, but the majority of it is concentrated in your jaw. And so it freezes you, like you
Hmm.
can't move. Every nerve in the side on that side of your body just goes into overdrive,
Hmm.
and then you just get this electric shock through your face. Your whole face, my whole face goes numb, but in particular my jaw. So it's very painful to try to talk,
Hmm.
um, or even move my jaw, anything while that's happening. So yeah, that's what was happening when I couldn't talk. It throbs for a few seconds. The attacks can go anywhere from about 2 seconds to 2 minutes, and then it goes away as quickly as it comes on. So I'll be talking, I'll stop and make these weird faces, and then suddenly
Mhm.
I'm done and start talking again. So
So
yeah.
is there anything they can do to treat that?
Well, I take an anticonvulsant to try to stop the nerve from convulsing, which is what happens. Um, It works for the most part, but it doesn't take it away completely. There are a couple of surgeries that they can do. One, they would go in and put like a little pillow or cushion around the damaged nerve where it's damaged, and hope that that stops from anything from bumping up against it and causing it to flare up. The only other surgery that they can do, which may be the one I need, is they have to go in and completely sever the nerve, which would just completely deaden my whole left side of the face. Like when you go to the
Hmm.
dentist and it's all dead, but my whole face
Mhm.
would feel like that.
All the time.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you've
So
had
much
a
fun.
lot of traumatizing experiences. You still show up to work every day.
Of
And
course, of
so
course.
I have put you on a team called the admin team. And how does that work?
Well, I know there's several of us on the team, but we look out for each other and try to help with the agents in help making sure that they've got the training that they need and the help that they need. And if one team is struggling, like if the team lead is out or the admin is out, we just cover for each other and try to make sure that the franchises are taken care of and that the agents are taken care of, and we do it as a team. We're just kind of like a collective to make sure
Hmm.
that everything is taken care of.
That's fantastic. So obviously, I trust you a lot to put you on a
Thank
team to
you.
watch out for the team. And also because at these meetings, you're able to come forward and talk about franchisees that are struggling with their paying for their invoices and what we can do to help them, and
Mhm.
just bringing forward issues with the owners that we can help and support them better. So, from the other jobs that you've had, how is Augusta different?
Oh wow, that it's almost like night and day in many. See, there's my chemo brain working. In many aspects, it's like night and day. So the atmosphere here is very welcoming and relaxed compared to feeling like I'm being micromanaged or just rush, 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 rush.
Hmm.
It's more relaxed here and more friendly, more open, more welcoming, compared to any of the other jobs. And I've liked my other jobs, so this is, but it's so much easier as far as how you feel about yourself while you're working,
Hmm.
just because of the relaxed atmosphere.
Something that's a little different here, and in all the jobs I ever had, I never knew if I was making a difference in the
Right.
company, and if I never knew if I was making money for them or how effective
Right.
I was. So here at Command Center, we actually give everyone efficiency scores, so we
Mhm.
can know from 1 hour of time how many minutes they've been efficient in that
Right.
hour, and they
Mhm.
all work hard to get that efficiency number up, and we give it to them every couple weeks at
Yes.
payday. Do you find that extremely stressful or do you find that motivating?
No, actually motivating. I kind of use it as a goal for myself. It was a little before spring rush and before I was answering a lot more phones. It was I'd look at it like, "Oh, man, I'm not making very much money. My
Mhm.
score is really low." But that's because everything I did was really not anything that was charged to anyone, right? It was
I
doing the
see.
franchise invoicing where that's not billed to a franchise, or yellow slips if it was something that we gave money to the franchisee. Again, that's not really making money for the company. So a lot of the work that I did was not billable, and so that's why my score was a little bit lower, but it was always still something that was like, oh, I got to do better. I got to do better. But now I'm on the phones and I'm up. I think my last one was 69 something percent.
Incredible. That's fantastic.
So it's getting there, getting there. And I just use that as a goal. Like, okay, I was 69 this time. Let's get it higher. Let's do
Mhm.
70 or 80. I don't ever look
Mhm.
at it as oh gosh, I hate this. Why are they doing this to me?
Mhm.
I don't ever look at it like that. It's a challenge for me.
Yeah, so when you're doing those things for the owners and you don't have billable time,
Mhm.
it doesn't change your actual pay, correct?
Correct. No, not at all. Just changes the score, but the score isn't really something like I don't know. I don't see it as a way to punish, right? It's just
Mhm.
the billable things that I do. This is how efficient I am. But it's still something that needs to be done. If I don't do the franchise invoicing, first of all, the franchises can suffer and we suffer. We don't get money in, and they don't get the services that they need, right? So it's not something that I think would is bad. It doesn't affect my job in any way, and it still has to be done, and I enjoy doing it. So
We are a very young company, so we've had the franchise for 5 years, and you've been here a little over a year. How does
yes.
it feel working for a company that's really a startup, like from nothing?
It's been I can't even say it's been a challenge. It's interesting to see how it grows and see the changes and that have been for the good. I have yet to see a change that's been for the bad. There's a few that where well, maybe we can do it a little differently, but it's really interesting. I love seeing how it's growing. I love hearing all of the stories of the new franchisees and how they grew themselves and how what we do has helped them do that. I think it's really interesting, and I love watching like Mike's masterminds and all of his things on YouTube that are very helpful. He's got a lot of really great ideas that I think has actually helped with the franchise growing. And I just find it's fun.
Mhm.
Call me
When
weird. I think it's fun.
when we have the owners, we always encourage them to listen to the masterminds, which is what
Mhm,
Mike does every day, and people can ask questions of him. And then there's the content on, social media,
mhm,
YouTube, and the turnarounds that he records also.
mhm.
How has that benefited you to be able to watch what your boss
Uh,
is doing, what the owner's doing, and have a behind the scenes picture of what's happening?
Well, I find it interesting because it kind of ties into everything that we do, and when he talks about this is what we're going to do, or this is how how things are growing, I can see and connect that to things that we do here in Command Center, and he's very motivating. I know other people have said this about him as well, but I'll start watching one of his videos with absolutely no intent on getting motivated, but by the time I'm done watching, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this," because
Yeah.
he has such a great enthusiasm for everything that he's doing and such a love of what he's doing. So, I find it interesting and very very encouraging to watch any of his videos.
What would you say to the owners as you work with them all the time when they consider working with us, with you? What
Mhm.
advice would you give them?
Um, Trust. We are always constantly learning and growing. we our goal is to help you get better and work more efficiently to make more money. So trust in Command Center that we can do what you need to have done. If you have questions, we're always willing to help and figure it out and make get it made right for you. So my suggestion is, let us help you. Help us to help you. Let us do things for you that so you can free up your time and do what you need to do to make yourself more money, make your business
That's
better.
great. Yeah, that's great advice. What do you do personally that you listen to and help you to be a high performer and a high level and a person of quality that you are?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of what you said because somebody was getting water and I could just hear the water.
No, no, that's okay. So, what do you personally do to help yourself, like personal growth and things to make you better at your job and to make you the person of character that you are?
Well, the person of character that I am, this is just how I was born. I'm complete opposite of everyone in my family too, by the way.
Oh my.
But as far as personal growth, I like to make challenges for myself. I go into each day thinking, what can I do different today than what I did yesterday to help myself be better?
Mhm,
Whether it's just smile a little more or, you know, help another customer, figure out different things that they need or whatever, just helping someone. And always be kind. For me, it's always be kind. Always assume positive intent. So no matter what I do, I always try to feel that this person may be really mean and saying really mean things, but there's something positive that he's trying to get out of this, and what can I do to help make sure that intent comes through. And I make personal goals for myself to make myself better. So that's what I do to help my personal growth is setting these goals and trying to reach them. And again, for my own personal how I am, s- like it or not, it's me.
mhm.
So
What's been incredible is that you've worked this entire time, you still try to be better, and you've been really very sick and gone through a lot of hardship with your husband. So, what would you say to the person that's going through things like this sickness, a partner's sickness, to keep carrying on and to continue to work a full time job? How do you do that?
well, taking care of a partner, being the full-time caregiver is very challenging, can be very challenging, and it's different every day. And so it can get discouraging. Um, but there's always people out there, myself included, that, hey, if you need someone to talk to, if all you want to do is just cry, scream, shout, whatever, hey, I'm your person. Give me a call.
Mhm,
There's things that you can do, and I found working quite often would help me kind of get away that mental break from the
mhm,
stress. So to me, always working and being there and being myself and and making sure that I was always happy in what I was doing, kind of helped relieve a lot of stress of that. Caregiver and being sick, that was for me trying to again working is kind of my mental break from all of
mm,
that. um, I try every day not to tie the two. I mean, anyone who said you need to separate work and home, yeah, you can do it, but maybe they didn't really have a home life or a job.
mhm,
Because if you're having a bad day at home, you're going to have a bad day at work, but you need to try to step back and not let that bother you. you know Take a break if that's what you need to do, but there's always just use it as your way to take a step back and take a breath. The stresses are always going to be there, but being at work, you're away from that. And so, you know, relax if you can. Obviously, it's going to be hard, but use it as a getaway. You know,
mhm,
work doesn't have to be anything bad. Um, it it's a way to step away and get do something different. So always use it as a way to take a break, talk to someone if you need to talk to someone. There's always support. And everyone here that we work with, I can't think of anyone who wouldn't be willing to sit and listen or, help give advice if that's what you need. Sickness, there's obviously a lot of things you can't do with that. But again, for me, it was using it as a way to step aside. Um, I also have lupus, which, that doesn't bother me a whole lot, very often. But again, it's just the stresses on the body. Just if I can't don't think about it because I'm busy working, it just helps with that mental break.
Yeah, so
So
that is very inspirational. There's a lot of people that they just cannot handle it and they just give up and they use it as an
yeah,
excuse not to work. But
yeah,
needing money
yeah,
also makes
yeah,
us all a little more disciplined to do what we have to do. And
yeah,
that's much appreciated. And I
yeah.
appreciate having you here.
Well, thank
And
you,
I find you very talented. I've learned a lot from you, and I love having you on our
thank
team.
you. I love
And
being here.
I have watched you suffer, but still come into your job and be cheerful and are absolutely fantastic on the
Well,
phone,
thank you.
which I appreciate also. So, is there any angle that you'd like to share before we go of your life or anything that I haven't brought up that you think would be an encouragement to someone else?
Boy, I don't ever really think of myself as an encouragement to anyone. But I don't know, just like the song "Don't Worry, Be Happy," right? I'm just
Hmm.
um, try not to let any stressors of the day bother you. People are going to be angry no matter what you do. People are going to be
Hmm.
happy no matter what you do. So just be yourself and always be happy. And all never assume that someone's out to get you, right? It may
That is
be
awesome.
maybe they are having a bad day, or maybe they just have a job to do, and it's nothing
Hmm.
personal. It's just what they need to do. I mean, nobody's gonna. There's no Kashisis hiding around the corner to get you or anything. Just be happy and love your life. I don't know what else to say. Just it's nothing can make you angry without you letting it. So don't let it.
Yeah. Oh, that's great advice. That's great to end right there. I hope you
Perfect.
have a fantastic day.
You
And we
too.
appreciate you coming and being
Thank
with
you.
us today. And we are
Thank
right
you.
around the corner from each other. So
Absolutely. Hi.
thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you.